Motown India is turning 8 this October, and that obviously meant that we all would have a lot of work to do. But what I did not expect was to end up in a place like this. Let me tell you where I am. I am in Morni Hills, which is in the state of Haryana. And my partner in crime for this trip is the TVS Apache RR 310. So join me on this joyride as we go from Delhi and reach Morni Hills. My journey began with me waking up before the sun slipped into its slippers, just like all journeys do. With approximately 300 kilometers ahead of me, I needed to avoid traffic as much as possible. As I stepped into my garage, all dressed and with a bag on my back, a twist of the key on the TVS Apache RR 310 and a throaty good morning from its muffler was all it took to shoo it away. I headed out in the dark. The air was pleasant and cool, which is always a good thing when you are riding. I had to stop at Janakpuri to meet my fellow colleagues who are to be credited for the awesome footage that you're seeing. After that brief stop, it was time to ride on the wide, smooth and empty flyovers on the ring road. Stopping to have some parathas in Moorthal has almost become sacrilegious at this point. We stopped at Amrik Sukhdev and gobbled up the food and chai. After I filled my little stomach, it was time to indulge the RR 310 with the tank full of petrol. We had a long way to go and it would be rude to keep the stallion starving, and also inconvenient. As we reached Panchkula, it was time to go up the mountains. I was obviously excited to throw the RR 310 around some twisties, but I was also aware of the dangers of riding through hills. The path was narrow and could only accommodate 2 vehicles at once. One careless mistake and you could find yourself going down the steep hill in a less than pleasant manner. The RR 310 was impressive around the twists and turns of Morni. But what impressed me more was how the bike did not stall when I found myself on a higher gear but at lower RPMs. The road was less than ideal in a few places with some tiny but dangerous pebbles spread across the road. These could easily throw unsuspecting riders off their bikes. It had been afternoon by the time I reached my destination, so I decided to use the rest of the day to freshen up and recharge for the next few days that I would spend here. I got to know of a few good spots to visit from the locals and planned my course of action. First, I went to a river that I could spot from my residence. I was almost on top of one of the hills and was amazed to see only a handful of houses occupy the lush green scenery. To get to the river, I had to ride back for about 5 kilometers in the direction that I came and then take a U-turn and ride for another 8 to 10 kilometers. Once I did reach the spot, I was greeted by clear flowing waters and smooth round rocks guarding the river's banks. I parked the bike on the side and took off my shoes to dip my feet in the pleasantly cold running water. As I stood there, I captured the scenery with the lens of my eyes and of course my camera. The following day, I just went out exploring and riding through the hills. It was a very simple and straightforward thing to do, but something about the experience was very liberating. I think it was something about the vast scale of the hills and the blue skies above them. All the riding had made the Apache a bit dirty, and I felt I had to wash and clean it. After all, taking care of your ride is as important as riding it. And with that began a montage of slow-mo washing. I even found myself navigating the hilly roads after dark one day. It sure was scary because unlike city roads, there were no street lights or even houses to shed some light on the way. Even the moon seemed to be off on a holiday that night. My only source of illumination was the LED lamps on my bike, and thank God did they have a good throw and intensity. The thought of leaving the calm and serene hills and returning back to the chaos of Delhi was dreadful, but it was something that I had to do. The silver lining, however, was that I would get to spend more time riding the Apache through the twists and the straights. I think it has almost become a norm for me to ride the RR 310 in the rain, because it rained when I last had the bike for review, and even on my way back to Delhi there was a brief spell of rain. Thankfully the bike still maintained its sure-footed character, and on the slippery tarmac the braking was safe and confident thanks to dual-channel ABS.
Just a few days back, I was not even aware that not far from the hustle bustle of the city of Delhi, there is a mountain range that is so serene, so calm and almost untouched by man. It's the Morni Hills, and it's got some really beautiful locations, a very calm environment, and if that is something that you're looking for, then you can definitely come here, have a good time, but make sure that you have a trusty vehicle with you like I had the TVS Apache RR 310 to tackle the long and speedy highways, the curvy bends, and obviously the occasional bad weather.
As I got off the saddle of the Apache, I did feel a sense of sadness as I had to part ways with my companion of 7 days. But I did manage to divert my attention to the celebrations that were still up ahead for the 8th anniversary of Motown India.